Hello everyone, how you going? And welcome back to some more Heritage Minutes. Now these ones, like always, are just suggested ones from you guys, and so I just love to kind of learn all these little, literally 1 minute segments of history. So let's see what we've got. We're starting out with a Valor Arrow. Here we go.
You know the story, when the RCAF said Mach 2 fighter, 2-place 1,000-mile range, the British said it was impossible. The Yanks tried twice and failed. They said, you're dreaming. We said, fine, we'll build it right here in Toronto. And now you guys, my guys, are saying that it can't be done, that they were right?
Now that's the rocket that we used to get the model up to speed, and then the onboard sensors tell us that...
Come on, baby.
Damn it! But we did it according to your specs. The specs have changed.
Jeez.
We did it.
Arrow 201. You cleared for takeoff.
Although the government cancelled the project and destroyed the prototypes, the Avro Arrow remains for Canada a world benchmark in aerospace achievement.
Well, then wasn't that just one hell of a thing? I mean, I did hear or did read in the comments there was a whole bunch of maybe political influence that went into them, but I never realized that they destroyed all the prototypes. Like the amount of money and work that goes into building a plane to then just destroy it. Oh God, just can't, just unfathomable. And even just the fact that they said, where is it, 4 years? I mean, they went from bloody prototypes to a full plane in 4 years. Like give that to NASA and it takes them 40. And so man, like to have one of the best planes in terms of history for its time especially, it's pretty darn impressive. I wonder what the real reason was and why they just went, no, you can't be having this, because I just want to listen to it again. What did he say exactly?
Although the government cancelled the project and
okay, so they cancelled the project. I mean, maybe it was just costing them too much and they weren't really deemed necessary for whatever purpose they were originally going to be built for, but either way, the entire thing is just very impressive, especially considering it was, what, 1953, and they're going, no, it can't be done. You know, the Yanks, these people, no, it can't be done. What are you doing? Why are we going after this? And then what? Maybe are they right? Is there not a plane that can be made to these specifications to where we can actually just get everything that we want out of it? I mean, I'd love to hear it again.
Mach 2 fighter, 2-place 1,000-mile range, the British said it was impossible. The Yanks tried twice and failed. They said, you're dreaming. We said, fine, we'll build it right here in Toronto. And now you guys, my guys, are saying that it can't be done, that they were right?
That would be some hell of amount of kind of, I don't even know, pressure and stress and just everything just mixing into one, because man, you just be kind of committing to something that you don't even know really if you can pull off. I mean, clearly by this next frame here, they went through a whole bundle of prototyping like with any single plane ever created, but really like the amount of things that you would have to do, the models, all the different mathematics surrounding it, man, the amount of money and time and energy that goes into creating something like this. I mean, I'd love to know the kind of specs of this plane, because even though it does spit off a few little facts at the start here about 1,000-mile range or something along those lines, I didn't fully catch it, and other than that, I don't really know what it ended up as, you know. And honestly, it kind of looks like a modern day space shuttle. I mean, I don't really know if the space shuttle's even used anymore, considering we've got SpaceX on the horizon now. But either way, considering the fact that this plane was just deemed to be one of the best in the world, meeting all these different specifications that I don't know that I wish I knew, but either way, one of the best in the world, you have to give it a gold star if nothing else. But anyway, moving on to our next one, we have Valor Road.
You can do for him, you hit me! I gotta get him, sir! He's still alive! Come back! Come back, you fool! He's got him! He's bringing him back!
Sergeant Fred Hall lived on Winnipeg's Pine Street. Rob Shanklin lived on Pine Street too. And you know what? So did Leo Clark.
What is going on?
And the hole! Sergeant! Sergeant! It's Clark! We just heard he took on 20 Germans! Clark?
Clark, Shanklin, Hall. Amazingly, they all won the highest award for courage we could give them, the Victoria Cross. That's why we changed the name of Pine Street to Valor Road.
Jeez, I mean, that's one hell of a thing. I mean, I have no idea where Pine Street is, but it certainly seems to be breeding one hell of a class of military personnel. I mean, I obviously have so many things to kind of dig into this 1 minute clip. It was insane how many things just happened here. Between the fact that this guy at the start kind of went out and then kind of captured his friend, or not captured, kind of rescued his friend. I can only assume that they were the two originally that they were talking about. They grew up on the same street. And then at the end here, this guy came and, what was it, captured 20 Germans?
Sergeant! Sergeant! It's Clark. We just heard he took on 20 Germans.
just took on 20 Germans. I mean, I don't really understand. They've all got their hands on their heads, and so I don't know why everyone's kind of freaking out and shaving, but all at the same time kind of just getting their rifles ready and everything. It's a little bit of a strange situation. And I would also love to know how he managed to get 20 Germans to follow him. I mean, I know he's got a gun, but really 20 people, surely 20 people are able to kind of overpower him, and I don't even know what. Either way, I guess obviously he was just very, very good at his job in that regard. But no, I guess coming back to their kind of overarching story of this entire thing, the fact that they renamed a road because 3 guys that grew up, maybe they knew each other. I can only imagine they did if they grew up on one kind of street that was renamed. What was it called? Was it Pine Street?
Lived on Winnipeg's Pine Street.
Yeah, Winnipeg's Pine Street, and so there we go. I guess just all of a sudden you go, well, it's not Pine Street anymore, which is a little bit of a kind of a run-of-the-mill name, and then all of a sudden you go to Valor Road. You're like, wow, okay, then they certainly were kind of deserving of it. But then again, I guess if you do live on that road, then there are some fairly high expectations about the kind of personnel that live on that road, and so I don't know what kind of jobs or what you have to do to kind of be living on that road. I mean, maybe it's not even a kind of a residential road anymore. I mean, they did show a photo of it. Where is it? I don't even know if I'll be able to find it. I mean, I'm always unsure as to how much creative liberty all these 1-minute movies take. You know, maybe that is Valor Road, maybe it isn't. Obviously, it looks like historical footage, but then again, I feel as though it's unrealistic to expect that every single thing that you're seeing is kind of just on face value, just correct. And so, yeah, I guess, like I said, there is just so many things going on this entire video. It's kind of covering an entire war, but at the same time, 3 guys, and so, man, just hats off to all of them. But anyway, now moving on to our third one, we have Nitro.
All right, who wants to earn some danger pay? Boat fare for the wife. All you have to do is go down in the tunnel with the Nitro and set the charge.
And my wife, you pay both? Okay, I do very good. You see.
This sounds crazy.
Now pour it in the hole gently, understand? Any little bump and that stuff will blow.
Damn it, that's the 3rd one we lost this month. Cochran,
Whoa.
get another volunteer.
I went back in again, but I lost many friends. They say there is one dead Chinese man for every mile of that track.
Whoa.
That's what they say.
Wow, what? I don't even know really what they're referring to when they say for 1 every mile of that track, but I can only assume that nitro means nitroglycerin, and so, man, that's one hell of a thing to just be kind of carrying into there. The fact that the bloody guy survived as well, like, he just kind of, where is he? He just walks out. I mean, he's obviously a little bit, well, he's just clearly not unharmed, because look at the bloody tunnel that surrounds him, but either way, the fact that this guy survived and then went back in with another bottle or vase or jar, whatever you want to call it, that's just insane. I mean, I really don't know how the entire thing works in terms of, did it blow up kind of unprompted, or do they actually just not get out of there in time in terms of lighting it, or however it kind of works. I'm not even sure how nitroglycerin really goes about exploding and whatnot. I just know that it is quite clearly a very volatile thing. Here we go, a little bit of this action.
That stuff will blow.
There we go, it kind of does that and quite well, and that's why you use it for explosive tunneling or explosive digging and things, but I never knew that they used it and just kind of sent a guy in. They got a volunteer. That's just insane. And so bringing it back to here, I want to listen to it again to see if it just gives me any kind of context surrounding exactly what they're talking about.
They say there is one dead Chinese man for every mile of that track.
Every mile, and I wonder how many miles, because that sounds like the kind of numbers that would add up very, very quickly, and so that's just crazy. I mean, like I said, I guess it's kind of the thing that you did at the time, but actually think about it, they did say at the start what it was, I just had no context. So the CP Railroad 1884, like the fact that they were blowing stuff up in 1884, that just sounds like the wrong kind of time period to be blowing stuff up in and carrying things along, but really I have no context, or I had no idea where the CP Railroad is, and I have no idea how long it is either. Holy moly, I just had to look it up because I just needed to know the kind of numbers that we were dealing with. 20,000 kilometers of the Canadian Pacific Railway. Why the hell were they using nitroglycerin? I mean, I guess they were tunneling a little bit, but surely that's a whole bundle that is above ground, so it's not 20,000 kind of kilometers of tunnel or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I guess that certainly doesn't mean that the numbers he said is incorrect, because, well, I can only assume that if you kind of aggregate it out to 1 kilometer, or did he say miles or kilometers?
There is one dead Chinese man for every mile of
every mile, and so at least that reduces the numbers a little bit, but either way that takes it down to like, I don't know, 14,000 instead of 20,000, and so either way that's just a lot of people, especially just for kind of one industry, for one railroad. And even though that I know in 1884 there were going to be a whole bundle of people that are just living on desperate times and desperate missions, just trying to do anything they can to just get a little bit of money, either just migrating and moving, trying to bring their wife over for the boat or whatever it may be, I'm sure you just kind of send them on their way, no training and handling of the explosive material that is likely going to kill them based on what that guy said at the end of the video. And so man, I would love to know if this is kind of just a story or if it's based on an individual story that the guy that kind of just walked out of there just supposedly unharmed in most kind of circumstances. Either way, like I said, just how much is your life really worth? Because obviously, I mean, I guess they said they were volunteers, but no, volunteers in terms of volunteer going down into the mine for the hazard pay, and so I guess you were still being paid, and so is it worth it? I don't know. If you really think you have very, very stable hands without a gimbal or anything like that, then I guess maybe try it, but other than that, sign me out. But anyway, now moving on to our fourth and final one, we have Winnie, and so here we go. London.
So you'll be fighting in France tomorrow, huh? Well, good luck, Captain Caldwell. Oh, and you can be sure we'll take very good care of the bear. You are noting that it's the official mascot of the 2nd Canadian Infantry Brigade?
Yes, sir.
So long, Winnie. You be a good girl while I'm gone.
Why Winnie, sir?
From my hometown, Winnipeg.
Oh, Daddy, I just love Winnie. Couldn't we take him home with us?
Christopher Robin, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll write some stories about Winnie, and Mr. Shepherd here will draw some pictures.
Oh, Daddy, let's call him Winnie the Pooh.
Why Pooh, son?
I don't know, just Winnie the Pooh.
And that's how a young Canadian soldier's bear inspired 4
So
volumes
confused.
of stories and verse and still sell millions of copies around the world.
Wait, what? Hang on a second. They had a bear for the war that then turned into Winnie the Pooh because a kid and the father, and they had illustrator. There was so many things going on there. First of all, I just want to kind of understand that why was there a Canadian with a bear that was a mascot for someone else in London in early World War One? I mean, I'd love to know that, because that just sounds like so many different meshes of stories that I just don't even know where to start. And then even the fact that this guy is then going off to France, but then he's leaving his bear behind to get looked after. But why does he even have a bear to begin with? Like, does he brought it from Canada? I really have no idea. I don't understand. I mean, it's a little bit disappointing because obviously the conditions that the bear would have been kept in would hardly be considered modern standards, let alone the modern standards being so low as it is. And so even though they said, oh yes, we'll look after the bear, the fact that it ended up in a zoo just kind of, well, according to this video, pacing around for 10 years, I mean, I don't know how good that is. But either way, just reading this sign, we have the Zoology Society of London, Winnie, born in 1914, American black bear, donated by Captain Harry Colborne. I mean, I guess the most confusing thing to me is why he didn't come back to the bear. I mean, maybe he just kind of got lost up within the entire war, or maybe he didn't make it out of the war. I really don't know. I mean, I guess it does say donated by, but maybe that was in relation to him going to France. And so there were so many questions surrounding this entire circumstance. But even the fact that just not even talking about the Winnie Pooh part, like how the hell did we suddenly go from a bear all the way to just having an illustrator on hand to just draw this? Like, how did that happen? And so really just all of a sudden go from an American black bear in a zoo to then Winnie the Pooh being yellow and red. I mean, I would love to know where the colors came from as well, because hey, maybe even the colors kind of just changed and evolved over time. It did originally start out as a black bear, just has pencil kind of stencil drawings, but then it eventually kind of got colored in. And like I said, I would love to know where the colors and all the other characters came from. But either way, I guess I just need to listen to how many copies were sold and whatnot.
A young Canadian soldier's bear inspired 4 volumes of stories and verse and still sell millions of copies around the world.
Okay, so a young Canadian's bear. See, like I said, that just entire sentence doesn't make sense. But then for 4 verses, no, not for 4 verses, 4 volumes of verses. I mean, geez, I mean, yeah, I know that there's just been a million different things, and then obviously you have cartoons and everything else that comes along with Winnie the Pooh. Actually, I'm fairly sure there was a random country that it was banned in, and I can't remember what it was, but it was some kind of Eastern European country that is just recently, actually, not even like originally when this was brought out, but recently brought out a law that is just illegal, and so I'm just completely confused with that as well. And that was just from the video that I did on the weirdest laws from around the world. But either way, like I said, just the fact that all of these different things came together to create Winnie the Pooh, it just blows my mind. But anyway, in saying that, I reckon I'm going to call it there. So thank you for watching watching this video. If you did enjoy it, feel free to do the YouTube algorithmic things down below. Also, if this is the first video of mine that you're watching, then maybe you want to check out just any of the other videos I've done. You know, plenty of heritage minutes and all the other international videos that I've done. Or hey, maybe even just want to consider subscribing so that you don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.